Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to Nat Fashion Hub, the best fashion channel in the world. Yeah, so this is part of our sewing tutorial series. This is the part 2, and in this part 2 we are going to be learning what measurement is and how to take the body measurement for both male and female. So if you are enjoying this series and you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on. If this is also your first time watching me, please I advise that you hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on so that you will not miss out on any of my videos. So like I said, today we're going to look at what is measurement and then how to take the body measurement for both male and female. So first, to start with, what is measurement? I would like to say that measurement is the art of taking the correct data of the body parts in their right proportion using the tape. As a tailor, we use tape. All right. So it's the process of taking the correct data of the body parts or the fabric. This is what is called measurement. When you are measuring the arm, you are taking the data of the arm. If you are measuring the chest, if you are measuring the shoulder, you are measuring the sleeve length, the sleeve round. That is what is called measurement. So it's the act of taking the correct data of the body part using a tape. That's what is called measurement. It can also be taking the size of a fabric, the length, the breadth of it. That's also what is called measurement. So looking at the tape, for we tailors, we use tape to take our measurements, and we use the size of inches. Tape is in inches and it's in centimeters, so we use the part of inches for our measurements. Yeah, we don't use the part of centimeters, we use the part of inches. Yeah, so quickly, without wasting time, let's go into that. So let's start with the male, right? So how do you take the body measurement for a male? Very important. The parts to measure, I'll go over them before I start the measurement. The parts to measure, we have the chest, we have the shoulder, we have the sleeve length, and the sleeve round can be long, it can be short, it can be long. We have the tummy, we have the waist, we have the thigh, we have the hip, we have the knee, we have the ankle, and we have the trouser length. So let's start. How do you take measurement for the shoulder? Let me turn this guy this way. This is interesting anyway. So yeah, you take the shoulder now. When you are taking measurement on the male, if you check every male, there is a point where the bone, the arm bone is joining with shoulder bone. When it's for female, that is very critical point for you to consider, but for male, we overlook that. When we come to female, I'll show you that. So this is how you take your measurement from the beginning of the shoulder. This is the shoulder, from the beginning part of the shoulder, you see, from here. See where I kept it, crossing over to the almost close to the neck, to this way. So for this mannequin, the shoulder is what? 18. The shoulder is 18. The next thing we take is the sleeve. Why is it the sleeve? I'll show you. When you take a shoulder measurement, wherever your shoulder stops, that is where you continue to take the sleeve. So our shoulder stopped here. I'll place my tape where the shoulder stopped to take my sleeve. If you remove the tape before doing that, you might discover that at the point of measuring the sleeve, you either took the tape too high or too low. That will give you an error in measurement. So once you measure your shoulder 18, you place your hand where that 18 is, then you bring your tape and keep where that 18 is to continue measuring all the sleeves. And the sleeve will have long and short sleeve. The sleeve will have long and short sleeve. All right, so this is for short sleeve. We have long, short, we have three-quarter. For short sleeve, this person it can also be depending on how the customer wants it. This short sleeve could be 8, could be 9, could be 10. All right, at whatever point it is, you measure the sleeve round, and the sleeve round will measure, give you an allowance. You don't make it too tight. Okay, this is the fitting of it. You can open it by 1 inch or 1.5 inch to give it an allowance. All right, that's fine. For three-quarter, still at the same point. Three-quarter sleeve is below the what? The elbow. Below the elbow. That's where you have the three-quarter sleeve. So this is his three-quarter sleeve is 15. You measure the round, still give you an allowance of 1 inch, 1.5 inch. So his fitted round here is 11. You can now give it 12. You see? This is just okay. Then you check the sleeve length. The long sleeve. The long sleeve. You see, the long sleeve comes and stops at the wrist here. At the wrist here. So if it is cufflinks, you measure fitted without giving any serious allowance, just half-inch allowance from the normal fitted, just half-inch. You see these cufflinks. But if it is an open sleeve, you measure in such a way that the hand can go through it. So you check, can the hand go through it? You see, it can go. If I use 9, the hand cannot go through it. But 10, the hand can go through. That's how you check for your sleeve. The next thing we're going to measure right now is to measure the bust, the chest. All right, this is how you measure the chest. You see, the tape passes at the arm where you have the largest part of the chest. That's where you measure your chest. And if you look at this, the fitted of this chest is 38. You free it by 3 inches. That gives you what? 41. Why are you freeing it by 3 inches? So that the person can be able to wear the dress. If you don't free it, I'll still show you something when I come to female hair on the measuring the chest. If you don't free, the person cannot wear. So freeing by 3 inches gives you a fitted dress. If you want it to be bogus, you can go all the way to 4 inches or 5, depending on how bogus the customer wants it. But normal fitted is that you measure the exact bust and you add 3 inches to it. That's normal fitted. So the exact bust of this person is 38 plus 3 inches, that's 41. That's all. Then you come down to the fitting, still the same thing. Same thing. The fitting is 31 plus 3 inches, that's 30 what? 34. Come down to the what? To the waist. Now the waist, you measure the waist and you don't add any allowance to it. What you get for the waist is what you use. So for the waist, you have 32. 32 is the waist, no additional allowance. And the hip, when you are measuring the hip, you make sure the tape cuts across the what? The bum bum. Alright? So you see, the tape must cut across what? The bum bum when you are measuring your hip. Alright? So you see, the tape cuts across the bum bum, and since it's male hip, you don't make it tight. This is 38. You open it still by what? 3 inches. Alright? To have what? 38, 39, 40, 41. 3 inches. Alright? You see? 3 inches. To give it, to make it a bit free. To make it a bit free. So the next thing we're going to measure, is to measure the tie. So how do you take a tie measurement? Now, just like the bust measurement, you measure the tie at the highest point. You don't take it below, you don't take it low, you measure the highest point of the tie. You see? So this, for this mannequin, the size is 22.5, and I'm going to free it by 2.5 inches. Alright? And that gives me 25. So for this, a customer with this size has a tie width of 25 inches. You measure the fitted and then you add 2.5 inches to it to get the tie size. If you don't add, the trouser might be too tight, will be too tight, not might, will be too tight. So, well, same on this when I come to the ladies aspect, I will show something. Let's take note of those points I'm talking about. showing us the differences when it comes to ladies aspect, so that in case I forget, you can drop a comment and let me know that I omitted something. All right, and I'll do justice to attend to it. So after measuring the thigh, the next thing is the knee measurement. You measure the knee. All right, the knee is still the same. You measure the knee. For this mannequin, the knee is 15, and you add 2 inches allowance to get 17. All right, to get 17. For the thigh, you add 2 inches allowance. For the knee, you add 2 inches allowance. For the thigh, you add 2.5 inches allowance, and then you come down to the ankle. All right, and at the ankle here, what you must take note of is that this trouser is passing through this part of the leg that is quite big. So whatever you're doing, you need to give allowance so that the leg can pass through. All right, so it's quite so for the thigh, you see, it's good to give an allowance that will enable the leg to pass through. All right, so for instance, let me show you something. Look at where I'm keeping this tape slanting from the back side of the foot to the front, you see. So if I slant it like this, I am having 13. All right, so which means an ankle round of 13 this customer can freely and easily wear. All right, but if I had just kept it here and I give allowance of let's say it's 10, and then I measure using 12, you see, it will be too tight. It cannot go out, you know, of this customer's leg, or neither can it come in. So taking it this way gives you, you know, the right measurement. But you won't go telling customers to remove that shoe for you to get this. So what do? You simply add 3 inches to the normal whatever you get here. So this is the person's thigh, ankle 10, you add 3 inches to get what? The fitted part of the ankle. So we say the thigh you add 2.5, the knee you add 2 inches, and for the ankle you add 3 inches. The next thing we're going to look at is the neck. For male fabric, for male dresses, the neck is very, very important, you know, because when you don't get the neck correctly, you discover that the dress is made, but when you wear it, it's either the vest is showing on the neck or the neck is too tight. Either of it is not good, so you make sure you get the neck accurately, and the neck you measure without giving any allowance. All right, so for this customer has a neck of 16, and you measure at the base of the neck, not up. All right, this would be a wrong measurement. You measure at the base of the neck. Okay, and for this customer we are having 16 to be the size of the neck. The next thing we look at is the length of the top. This is user defined based on how the customer wants it. The customer wants a short length or a long length or a 3/4 length, but the standard is that your top should be able to cover your pocket area on the trouser. That's the standard. Any shirt you are wearing, the top should be able to cover the pocket area on your trouser. So you always make sure that, one, it covers the pocket area on your trouser. Secondly, the zip area as well. You don't wear a top that reveals your zip flap. It's not correct. So the top must go below your zip area, and also looking at the pocket side. These are the two things you consider, most especially the zip area. So looking at this man's top can be 30, it can be 35, and then the person wants it long, you can go all the way down to 48. All right, so that's that for the length. Not to forget about the length of the trouser. When taking the length for the trouser, you ensure that the customer stands straight. Never you take the length of trouser when the customer is not standing straight. And thank God for this mannequin is giving us the exact point where the waist is starting. That's why I shifted it this way so I can see it clearly. So to get the trouser length, you measure from the beginning of the waist. Always ask customers to tell you where they keep their trousers. Some customers keep their trousers on the waist, some on the tummy, some at the waist, some take a little bit below the waist, which is not advisable. But for you to satisfy your customer, you must be careful to let the customer show you where he or she keeps her trousers, his or her trousers, so that you can get the accurate measurement. So you see, you allow your tape to fall straight, all right, and you stop at the ankle, all right. You don't go below the ankle, so that it won't be too long, it won't be folding, it won't be landing the shoe and folding. It will stand straight when the customer wears it. So for this, I have a trouser length of 38 for this customer. So like I said, if I'm omitting any part of the body, please leave a comment for me and let me know which part I omitted, so that I will come back and do justice to that. So I think I'm done with the male part, and so we'll move over to the female part, okay, and we'll consider that. So I'm a bit fast. I don't want the video to be too long. I don't want to forward anything because it should be very detailed for you to understand. So for the female, there are different measurements to take for the female. Some are similar to the male measurement, but there are still differences. You take the shoulder, like I showed us, like I said, I was going to show the difference between male shoulder and female shoulder measurements. Okay, depending on what you are making. So take the shoulder measurement, the upper bust, the bust point, the under bust point, the center bust. You take the fitting, you take the waist, you take the hip, you take the skirt length, long or short, the back figure, and if I'm forgetting anything, please, like I said before, drop a comment, let me know. So let's start. So for the shoulder, for ladies, it depends on the type of dress I'm making for a lady. If I'm making a dress that has shoulders, has puff, you know, these high shoulders kind of a thing, you don't measure the shoulders completely. Like I told you, if you look at every human being, the place where the bone, the hand bone joins with the shoulder bone, there is should I say there's a little slope there that you can identify where the shoulder bone joins with the sleeve bone, with the hand bone. So that is where you keep your tip. If the dress is going to carry a puff, okay, you're going to carry gathers that puffs up, you don't measure it completely from the one end of the shoulder to the other end like you did for the male. You don't do that. You shoot your tape in and you take the measurement from that point I'm showing you. This is because when the dress is made and the puff pushes up, it now assumes the right angle, the right size of the shoulder. If you measured full, by the time the dress pops off, it goes off the shoulder and it doesn't give it a good look at all. So that is important. Take note of that. So for this lady, if we are doing that, we have a shoulder of 13. But if it's for a normal dress that doesn't have, you know, shoulder parts and all that, it means you're still going to take the full measurement of the shoulder, just like the male. I hope that's very important and it's clear and it's taken. So without wasting time, you take it just like the male if it's a normal dress you're making. And the parts that are similar with the male, I'm not going to be wasting time on them. Remember, I told us that when you measure your shoulder where your tape stops, that's where you continue to measure your sleeve. So the same thing for ladies. The difference is that when it comes to the sleeve round, you don't give much allowance because it has to be very fitted. Okay, so for this lady, with her short sleeve, you're having 9 here. If she wants it fitted, you can leave that 9. If she wants a little bit free, you can just add ½ inch allowance and you're having 9.5. Ladies wear fitted dresses, so you don't give much allowance when you're taking the body measurements. The same thing with the sleeve, the 3/4 sleeve, and the long sleeve. And also very importantly, the long sleeve of a lady doesn't go that long like that of a man. Okay, so instead of getting to the wrists, you drop 1 inch before the wrist, even for long sleeve, except the person is particular about the length of the sleeve. If not, you don't allow it to reach the sleeve like the male. You allow it 1 inch before the wrist. You don't allow it to get to the wrist. You allow it 1 inch before the wrist, and that's where you take your sleeve length for the ladies. And then the round also has to be fitted. But like I said before, also always take note that what you're measuring here is enough to allow the dress pass through the hand. You see, if I had used 7.5 here for my sleeve round, it cannot pass through the hand, which means you can't wear it. So you make sure you check from here and get an allowance that the sleeve can pass through, okay, the palm can pass through. That's what guides you to what you have here. Except it's a stretchy fabric, okay. The fabric is stretching, there's no problem. You can stretch and the hand will enter, the palm will enter. But if this fabric is not stretching, you must make sure that you give an allowance for the palm to pass through. I think that is that. Now we'll go to the bust. Okay, like I said, we have three parts of the bust. You measure the upper bust, which is this point, directly under the arm. This helps your dress to be very fitted. Most likely when you're making dresses that doesn't have shoulders, okay, off shoulder dresses that starts from the from under bust here, dresses like dinner gowns that start from under bust here without any shoulder part. All right, you make sure you measure this upper bust to be very, very fitted, so that when the customer wears the dress, it will hang. All right, so for this size, the upper bust is 31 and 30 and a half. Then you measure the center bust, which is directly across the nipples, all right, of the customer's breasts. You see, so this is the center bust for the customer. All right, so then you measure the under bust of the customer. These measurements are without any allowance. You don't give allowance to these measurements. All right, that was where we got our exact 30 and a half here. We got our exact 36 here. We got our exact 29 here. These are without any allowance, right? Then you come to the waist. You come to the waist, you have the waist here is 27 without any allowance. We have the hip. Unlike the guys, when I measure the hip, I give allowance. This you don't also give allowance for the hip. You measure the exact hip, which is 38 for this customer, and then you talk about the skirt length. Also, be mindful, ladies, most of them put their skirt on the tummy. You make sure you ask that question. Let the customer identify where she keeps her skirt, so that you can get the right measurement. So you see, for the knee we have 22. For long skirt we have 42. Very important, very important. And the tie of a lady, his trouser, is always fitted. There's no much allowance. For this lady, the tie is 24. You just add a little allowance, like half an inch, because it has to be fitted. All right. And when you come to the knee, still the same thing. Unlike the male, you have 2.5 inch allowance here. For the ladies, you just give 1 inch, just a little bit free. It shouldn't be loose. And down to the ankle, still the same thing. You be sure that the trouser can go through the leg and pass through the leg. That's for ladies trouser. For their gowns, okay, yeah, when it comes to ladies gown, you also check the length. And when you're making ladies gown, make sure the tape pass in the front of the bust, not by the side, in front, okay, so as to get accurate length. All right, it can be short at the knee, it can be 3/4, it can be long, depending on what measurement you're looking for. So I think with this we have done justice to taking body measurements. And so with that, we have come to the end of this class today. So I'm going to bring the next video on how to cut and sew. So if you're enjoying this series, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on, because much more interesting videos will be coming your way. Thank you so much. Welcome to That Fashion Hub, the best fashion channel in the world. Thank you.